Oh, this book is so fucking big.
I heard it.
It's gonna take up way too much room on my shelf when I'm done.
I'm gonna donate it, probably. I don't want it.
It's gonna take up so much fucking room in my garbage can. Welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown adults revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. I am Sophie, and I am one of the hosts of this great podcast. And as always, I have a randomly generated YA title. And my YA title this time is The Orchestra of Apples and Curses.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I don't even know. The orchestra is what's throwing me off.
Yeah. The apples, it's a Snow White retelling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. But set in like...
An orchestra?
Well, I've been reading a lot of fairy tales set in like old medieval Russia, so maybe that's why I think it's medieval Russia, but...
Yeah. I could be down with that.
in like a
She's
snowy...
composer?
Yeah, like a snowy landscape
Uh-huh.
of some kind.
Yeah.
The cover's
Yeah.
definitely like a lot of like oranges and golds,
Mm.
is what I
Mhm.
think.
I had, like, dark brown and green in there.
Oh,
Mm.
dang. Two very different books. We'll each
Yes.
have to write one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I love that. More writing than what we're already doing, which is too much. Who are you guys?
I'm Sam, and my randomly generated YA title of today is The History of Wandering and Tea.
Oh.
Aw.
Well, initially, I had a positive reaction to that, but I think that's just British global colonization.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm,
I do
that
just
is
like wandering in
that's
tea,
the
though.
point.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, see, I thought like wandering around the forest with a thermos of tea kind of vibes, but
Oh, man.
that is an excellent
Oops.
point, Hannah.
Thanks, I'm here to
means-
ruin things all day.
That's okay. What's your book title?
Oh. Funny you should ask. My name is
Oh.
Hannah, and I also have a randomly generated YA title. And mine is A Nation of Wraiths and Land.
Holy shit.
So,
Rates and land.
I do like the Nation of Land. That's evocative.
I mean,
Yep.
it could be a water nation.
That's the opposing nation.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's the water one.
like the Atlanteans and Aquaman.
Yeah. Away from the land.
Yep.
They're away from the land. Yeah.
Well, see, that's why they have to live on the ocean, because the land is full of wraiths.
That's like basically the plot of Rayon the Last Dragon.
Oh, I
Oh,
haven't
yeah?
watched
I
that
haven't
yet.
seen it.
Yeah.
It's really cute. I liked it, but basically the wraiths, they don't like water. So it's like
Oh.
as long as you're protected by water, you were fine. So like one of the nations was a land surrounded by a moat, and the wraiths, or I
Mhm.
don't know what they were actually called. I'm calling them wraiths because that's kind of what they were like. And they were safe until the water disappeared.
Oh,
Anyways,
dang.
Huh.
yeah.
I think that's pretty common, like, ghost mythos. Because they don't like running water a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Isn't that normally vampires?
Is it?
It's also fairies, according to A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Ooh, great point.
Oh yeah, true.
So, do cryptids just not like water?
I mean, I don't like walking through running water, like, you know, with my shoes
That's
on.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
fully dressed.
I prefer to be suitably attired for the occasion.
Yeah, if properly dressed, like splash me in all the water, put me in the ocean. As soon as I get back into a lake, I'm gonna be like gone. It'll take everything to get me out. I'll just be like, bye, I'm here for the day, forever.
I did look up TV tropes cannot cross running water, just to make sure we weren't wrong.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
We are, just to confirm, we are all thinking about Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
It's also it's
True.
in
Yeah.
the Lockwood and Co. young readers series, and it was also in ACOTAR because I just read that.
Right, yes.
It's like a thing.
It does say generally water naturally works against the undead. You know, just that it states that as a fact.
Great.
I mean, it is TV tropes. So.
I'm glad we've established that as a race.
Great.
Yeah. So vampires, ghosts. This list. Okay, hold on. Vampires, ghosts, witches and wizards, and knuckleavies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a knuckleavie is.
Nope.
Knuckleavie.
What is a knuckleavie?
Click that link.
There's no link. Okay, I got it. Okay, a knuckleavie, of course, is a horse-like demon from the Orcadian mythology.
Oh.
Of course. Where's Orcadia?
Is the Orkney Islands, which is in Scotland.
Oh, that makes sense.
A knuckleavie. What a good name.
I like it.
That is pretty great.
They look real spooky in these artist renditions. Anyway, what were we doing? I guess we should talk about these books that we read.
Yeah, don't we have a podcast to do?
We've all had great days. Nothing has gone wrong at all. So,
nope.
So we have 100% focused on these books.
Definitely.
Having a good time.
You tell us what happened in Twilight, Sam.
I guess I should. Twilight, we're at chapter 18, The Hunt, which I don't think this chapter was appropriately named, as the hunt, so to speak, for Bella barely even starts, and it only kind of starts at the end of this chapter. But anyways, the chapter opens up with us meeting Laurent, who is very attractive, Victoria, who is very anxious, and James, who is just creepy. Anyways, they come in to interrupt the game. Carlisle tries to diffuse the situation in his natural calm and charm ways, but doesn't quite succeed because they quickly realize Bella is a human with just one slightly misplaced bruise. And then the Cullens split up, with Emmett, Edward, and Alice heading off to protect Bella, and Bella proving she is full of great ideas for her own protection. Take that, Edward. Anyways, but Hannah, how did this chapter go from Edward's point of view?
Okay, I do want to preface this by saying I wrote it before I heard what you wrote.
Yeah.
So, in this chapter of Midnight Sun, Edward's mind-reading talent gives more of an insight into the mental processes of the three intruder vampires, which are basically that Laurent is curious and generally non-threatening, Victoria is very anxious, and James is creepy.
Accurate.
So, yep. We also get to see an extension of Jasper's talents that was actually super interesting. Basically, that he is able to manipulate everyone's perceptions so that he himself appears non-threatening despite his battle scars. And the intruder vampires won't notice that Bella is human until that deathly breeze arrives. And once that worm turns, the chapter veers into the fatalistic, overly dramatic Edward that we all know and tolerate, and they rush off to try to find a future in which Bella is safe and still human. So,
yeah,
barely tolerable.
It's for the content.
Yeah. I absolutely loved the Jasper stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
guys, I had a great time.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was
so cool. I want to read some of the parts of it because
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's the one line that I like is, I glanced at him being Jasper, from the corner of my eye and found myself so incredibly bored. Jasper is creating this field of boredom around himself that like disguises himself and three of the other vampires. And I'm like, this is so smart. This is
cool.
what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Like, learning more about these cool vampire powers and how they use them.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting, partially because it ends up being so similar to what Bella can do that I feel kind of cheated that we don't get the interaction in, like, Breaking Dawn when Bella is a vampire, of her and Jasper working together to, like, figure out how her power works. Her whole thing is that she is a shield and she can shield other people, which is
right.
basically what Jasper's doing here.
Yeah.
But wouldn't Bella's powers, like, counteract Jasper's? If Bella used her shield, wouldn't that stop his powers?
That's a good question.
Because she would, like, essentially make a bubble, and then Jasper couldn't get in.
But his power works on her now.
That is a good point.
But she doesn't... Oh, yeah. Well, she's not bored. Oh, but
we don't know
when he was previous times.
Yeah, he's manipulated her before.
Yeah.
And maybe she wasn't aware of her boredom to, like, the level that Edward was, because, like, Edward realized what Jasper was doing, but now
right.
I should have gone back and reread the Twilight chapter knowing that Jasper was doing that.
That's too much Twilight for one
episode. Too much work.
I mean, I know I've read, like, at least 2 series that have, like, magic in this kind of way where they separate between, like, magic that affects your, like, mental state and magic that affects your emotional state. And so it could be that's, like, what this is. Like, Bella's is more like a mental shield, but Jasper is working with emotions.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
True, yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
So he's not, like, actually manipulating the mind, but...
The feeling.
Although
boredom.
You know, that tangible feeling of boredom.
Yeah.
But on a deep level, isn't that just the brain?
Listen.
As someone who has to take extra serotonin,
it's magic, Sam.
Okay.
Do you think he could be doing something physiological then? Like actually affecting brain chemicals rather than like mental feelings, I guess, like Bella does?
Now I'm imagining that Jasper's power is like controlling your calcium potassium pathways.
That's where I was going. I was like, does he control your hormone releases?
I mean, Jasper's just all in your endocrine glands, being like, here, I've activated your pituitary. Oh no.
I mean, Sam and I are both on brain drugs. We could just hang out with Jasper and he could do the same thing.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, wait, he could solve my serotonin problems.
Man, I don't know enough about brain chemistry to answer that question, though.
Me
nope, neither. I don't know anything.
Does that mean he could also, like, okay. Listen, just, does that mean he could control, like, you know, your estrogen levels?
That's where I was going with this, yes.
So
and then I got uncomfy.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if I hung out with Jasper and he didn't eat me, he could fix my brain and be birth control?
Yeah, basically.
Huh.
Oh.
Wow, that sounds pretty great. I mean, both brain drugs and birth control drugs already come with the risk of death, so like, might as well hang out with a vampire.
Exactly. I mean, then just keep Jasper around if you want, like, to do gender reaffirming.
Hey,
hormone supplements. Like, hey, like this, like, what can't he do? Can he convince my body to make a COVID-19 antibody?
Oh man,
where does it stop?
Where does it stop?
The possibilities are too much. Okay.
There's the Moderna, the Pfizer, the AstraZeneca, the Jasper.
Guys, I just need a medical vampire.
The J&J stands for Jasper and more Jasper.
Jasper Cullen.
Yeah. Jasper and Jedward. Okay, anyway. What were we talking about? Oh, did anyone else right at the beginning notice that the vampires in the book look nothing like the vampires in the movie?
Yeah.
I did notice that.
She like goes out of her way to describe not only what they look like, but like their clothing, which so cool when your book is so white that you have to add diversity in the movie.
Yep.
Great, cool. And also, they're just in the most boring clothes.
Yeah.
Why are they in totally normal clothing and no one else could be in normal clothing? And then in the movie, it's like swapped. In the movie, Bella and Edward are in normal clothing, and they're in just like this wild like fur cloak and an open jacket.
They're literally like thrift shop. It's like, yeah. It's like that's the vibes it gives off, is that they literally just raided a thrift shop and that's where their last dinner was.
They belong in the Macklemore music video.
Yes.
They do.
They popped some tags and also
yeah,
the arteries of several humans.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting that they are described as wearing waterproof hiking clothes, when in the last chapter, Edward gets made fun of for wearing a raincoat.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Just hey. Also, they were just like they were dressed like totally normal backpackers in like button-ups and jeans. And I'm like, huh?
Who backpacks in jeans though?
Who backpacks like that?
Nah.
Hiking in jeans is a choice.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a vampire, you don't sweat or chafe, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I mean, like, on a day hike, I might be like, you know what? There could be ticks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear jeans.
Sophie, you don't even wear jeans, like, anytime. You're going to put them on to go walk in the woods when you could be wearing leggings.
This is a great point. I'm just saying, conceivably, someone could have that thought.
That's true. A man, for sure. Because
Yeah.
I don't really have any other options.
I've been told multiple times by men that they're like, no, I love jeans. And I'm like, there has to be a disconnect here somewhere.
I used to love jeans, and then I discovered sweatpants, and I don't wear anything else now.
I discovered leggings, and then now I don't know what real pants are.
Yeah, and then there was a global pandemic, and now I'm never not wearing leggings ever again.
None of my hard pants fit now, so I don't wear them.
Yep. Hard pants, accurate.
Hard pants. Hard pants. Band name.
Yeah.
Called it. I did do some math at this point.
Oh, good. I love it when you do math.
Spoilers. I did a lot more math later. But the math I did here was the new vampires say... Let me find the line. Yes, so the new vampires come in and they say, we've been on the hunt all the way down from Ontario and we haven't had the chance to clean up in a while. And great shout out to Ontario. Cool. Love it. But I decided to figure out how long they had been on the move.
Okay.
Based on, of course, our understanding of vampire speed.
Yeah.
Which is at its slowest 84 meters per second.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. That's the number in my head. I didn't go back and look it up. It was something close between enough. That and the speed of sound. So I decided just, to get the longest possible, I did this very slow speed from Ottawa, which is the furthest point in Ontario, essentially, from Forks, Washington.
Okay.
That is 4,412 kilometers.
Oh my gosh.
So at their speed of 84 meters per second, it would have taken them only 14 hours.
Oh. Well, he says they were hunting. They couldn't have been traveling at warp speed the whole time if they were hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
So it only would have taken them not very long if this was their goal.
We've been on the hunt for the last 6 hours.
Yeah, it's just the way that they say we've been on the hunt all the way down from Ontario. It's like,
yeah.
This morning?
Well, also, like, down from Ontario to the Pacific Northwest, like, aren't they a pretty similar latitude? That's hella nitpicky, but...
Yeah, and I have, like, extremely specific gripe with this, because, like, why the hell were they here? They arrive there and be like, oh, we were hunting outside of Seattle. Yeah. What we know is they were hunting outside of Seattle. They changed direction when they heard the baseball game. Mm-hmm. And then once they arrive, they're like, we're going north after this. If they go north, they have to cross the Salish Sea in like half a minute. like the Salish Sea is the only thing up there.
Oh my god.
So first that. And then second, like there's nothing west of Seattle. What were they doing? Were they going to get on the ferry in Port Angeles? Like I don't know what they were doing. Doesn't make any sense.
Swimming is easier for their kind.
Yeah,
so they probably don't need a ferry.
Pacific.
But then why were they
Alaska?
coming? But why were they coming west of Seattle then? Like, it's just, there's nothing there. Anyway.
The Pacific Ocean? Maybe they wanted an orca.
Yeah, maybe they wanted whales.
That doesn't check.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my very specific gripe.
That is interesting.
I understand that it's for the plot.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. But does that also mean then that they heard the baseball game all the way from Seattle?
Okay, this was where I did other math.
Oh, is it? Because I'm like, wait, that's not that close. And that would imply that if their baseball game could be heard from that far away, then they would have to wait for a storm that encompassed like an entire diameter of a certain distance. Like,
is that the math you did?
Is that the math you did?
I didn't math the storm size. I decided to see how far away you would be able to hear the sonic boom of the baseball game. Now, there are some difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, a sonic boom depends on the thing that's making it. So, you would specifically have to know a baseball sonic boom.
Okay.
And so I watched a Smarter Everyday video, which was very useful, about a supersonic baseball gun that they made. But they didn't mention how loud the baseball was, which is, so I almost emailed them, but that was yesterday and I didn't think I'd get the answer by today. So maybe I'll email them after and we can update.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, listen, they're a verified Twitter account. They have like 1 billion followers.
Yeah.
Just like me shouting into the void, hey, how loud was your baseball gun?
Yeah, it might not work.
So I had to estimate that probably around the same decibel level as like a gun.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit between. Anyway, I guessed it was between 130 and 200 decibels at the source. And then decibels decrease with distance on a logarithmic scale.
Okay.
So you can actually hear it much further than you might think.
Mm-hmm.
So in Port Angeles, it would be... Oh, sorry. Let me back up to the other math I did.
Oh my god, okay.
Okay, sorry. They also say that the vampires heard them and changed course.
Mm-hmm.
And Edward said they're about 5 minutes away. So I did the math about how far away they would have been to hear the baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would have been at, moving 84 meters per second, 5 minutes away. I can do that math. So they were about 25 kilometers away.
Okay.
Roughly. And at that distance, it would have been around 30 decibels.
Okay.
And humans can hear as low as 0 decibels, basically. Okay. So, not that quiet. And then I did the math to Seattle. And Seattle would have been 11 decibels.
Oh.
So, yeah, no matter how far away, they probably would have heard something, because I just Googled an animal that I know had really good hearing, which is an owl.
Mm-hmm.
And owls can hear up to negative 20 decibels.
Wow.
So.
Oh, okay, so like humans that far away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all the math I did. So in Seattle, it was probably around 11 decibels, but they probably heard it at 30 decibels.
Right.
Interesting.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I appreciate that you did all that work. That makes a lot of sense.
I couldn't remember how to inverse a log function.
You should have texted me.
Yeah, but then that would ruin the reveal.
I mean, yeah, true. Fair.
I still didn't figure it out because I wanted to see how far away it would be 0 decibels.
Yeah, fair.
And I couldn't. I couldn't remember.
That's okay. I have to Google stats things more than I care to admit on a regular basis, and I get paid to do that, so don't worry.
Nice.
I should also say I got this formula to calculate this off of Quora. So
as one does.
Wonderful.
It gave me a number that, as far as I know, makes sense.
Definitely.
Seems reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, after this podcast, I'll be tweeting at Smarter Everyday and being like, hi, we're a Twilight podcast. You know that one scene?
Can you help us?
Can you help us? Yeah, so that's what I did.
The question I had about them hearing this vampire baseball game and wanting to come play is it like part of vampire culture to gather to play baseball? How do they know specifically what vampire baseball sounds like enough that they can hear it and know what's going on and like go to join in?
Yeah, I wondered this too. I was like, is this like a regular thing? And like Edward establishes too that most vampires don't gather and like that they're nomadic, and it's like, is this just an established thing that all vampires do? But then do they have like secret internet groups to like plan vampire baseball games or something? Or, you know, the phone book? Like, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, especially in 2006 or whatever.
I brought up the phone book specifically because Ella mentioned it's not that hard, or look up in a phone book or something. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it is. I don't know where I would get a phone book.
Nope.
Do phone books even still exist?
Probably
they do.
Not.
They're very no, they do. They're very small now. My parents had one last time I visited. It was delivered to their house. It's mostly businesses now, I think.
I guess that makes sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah, for people who don't use the internet, because those people exist.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that I have extensive knowledge of sonic booms.
Yes.
They probably can tell the difference between a baseball sonic boom and anything else sonic boom.
So I had a question for you specifically about that.
Okay.
Why are we assuming that the baseball makes a sonic boom?
Don't they say that's why?
I just assumed the baseball was like really loud.
Yeah, I thought it was just... Well, in Twilight, I think, they say that they need the thunder because of what it sounds like when vampires run into each other and, like, makes a loud noise.
I assumed it was because they hit the ball so hard. Was that not in the movie?
I thought it was also because of the ball hitting, but is it because of them running into each other? Because I do remember reading that and thinking, like, how hard do these two run into each other? Like, if you're two diamonds going against a diamond, wouldn't that...
Yeah, like if a vampire can injure another vampire, why are they running into each other that hard?
I think they can mostly only injure each other with excessive force.
How fast does one vampire need to run at another vampire to obliterate each other?
I googled, why do vampires need thunder for baseball?
That's what I googled also.
That's almost better.
According to ScreenRant.com, quote, "This is because they hit the ball with so much force that it sounds exactly like thunder when the ball comes into contact with a bat, so I was wrong."
Okay.
But now I want to know how fast do two vampires need to run at each other to obliterate each other.
If you have one vampire traveling at
this speed, and the second vampire traveling at this speed.
I actually think that's from the movie, maybe, and not from the book. But
well, let me get my Twilight book then.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, I was right. Page 323 of Twilight. I learned the other reason they waited for a thunderstorm to play when Jasper, trying to avoid Edward's infallible fielding, hit a ground ball toward Carlisle. Carlisle ran into the ball and then raced Jasper to first base. When they collided, the sound was like the crash of two massive falling boulders. I jumped up in concern, but they were somehow unscathed.
Yes.
So in order for vampires to obliterate themselves... In order for vampires to obliterate themselves running into each other, they have to run faster than two massive falling boulders.
This is a great point.
You are also right.
Further up the page, it says, "The crack of the impact was shattering, thunderous. It echoed off the mountains. I immediately understood the necessity of the thunderstorm."
So after all of this, we were both right.
We were both right. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
We've spent far too much time on that.
I hope most of this got cut out.
I am gonna do some editing.
Good job, Hannah, from the future. Job. You're doing great.
So I have a question that is gonna be mostly for Sam, because I don't think Sophie will have any idea.
Mm-hmm.
But this chapter reveals that James's like tracking is a special skill. It also sort of implies that Victoria's anxiety is a special skill of some kind. Did you pick that up? And is that a thing that comes in later that I just forgot? That she has like magic senses?
I didn't pick that up, but now I'm thinking, like, is her superpower that like she has like super sensing, not like future, like she can't see the future like Alice, but like
really good intuition.
Yeah. Which like
I said in my notes that she has the superpower I would if I became a vampire, which is super social anxiety. But it does seem like they defer a lot to how she reacts to things. The other two vampires with her.
Yeah, as if like her sense of fleeing is like kind of just like their compass of whether or not a situation is bad or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they say like they looked to her like a weather vane.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's that she can tell if the vampires are aggressive towards them, right? Like if she is in danger.
Danger sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though that like this was so heavily brought up in Midnight Sun, because when Victoria kind of comes back in Eclipse, you don't really get that vibe from her, because she's very much like this alpha woman vampire trying to take down the Cullens and everything. So I don't know, it just seems like a complete kind of character shift, but maybe I'm forgetting Eclipse. It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
me neither.
I just remember the movies, and I know in the movies, the second actress that they got to play Victoria played her like a bad vampire villain. And, like, not that she isn't in the way they portray her in Twilight and Midnight Sun, but they almost portray her like a scaredy cat, which...
Yeah, she's very skittish.
Yeah, and it was just weird, because that's not how I saw Victoria's character at all, even through Twilight, right? So... I don't know. It was interesting.
I wonder if we'll see more of her. I don't remember what role she has in the rest of Twilight. I wonder if we'll see her more in Midnight Sun, and they'll clarify that a little bit.
That's what I'm wondering too, yeah.
Do she and Laurent just dip while James is hunting?
I don't remember.
I don't think so, because James and her are mated or whatever.
Yeah.
Which also, I was like, since when are vampires mated? Anyways.
I also did not get that vibe.
Yeah.
Like, Edward's in their heads, and I think Edward explicitly says that he didn't get that vibe from them.
But that's why Victoria goes all crazy in Eclipse, because Edward killed James, who was her mate.
Yeah.
Oh, so it must be that, like, here is where it's setting up for, like, Edward didn't know that they were mated.
Yeah. Which is just,
point.
like, typical of an obtuse man.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're also setting up for, like, she was in love with him.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was something like that, too.
But then Edward would have picked that up, probably.
Well, not if she wasn't thinking about it, though.
True.
If she was so anxious about the situation they were in, it probably didn't even cross her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does lead into something that I thought was really good about this chapter of Midnight Sun specifically, which was that most of the questions that I had from the Twilight chapter were answered by Midnight Sun. So it's like, why do the intruding vampires not notice that the Cullens don't have red eyes? It's like, oh, Laurent sees that and just thinks that's part of a camouflage, or like
how they don't notice Bella at first.
Yeah, so it did a good job of filling in the gaps that we had from Bella's perspective, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. I actually very much enjoyed the chapter up until we get in the car with Edward.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Because it did a really good job of, like, fleshing out the scene from the vampire family's entire perspective, right? Because that is ideally what you get from Edward's mind powers, is you get the scene not just from his perspective, but everyone's perspective.
Yeah.
And it was cool. We got to learn about Jasper's great idea for his power, and then it all went to shit when Edward freaked out and tried to drive away with Bella immediately.
Yeah, well, what was the line about the breeze that came that ruined everything?
Yeah.
It was very funny.
It was just a gentle breeze, a mild flutter from a new direction, an aberration caused by the tail end of the storm swirling westward. So mild, so inescapable.
That's the most insignificant breeze.
It's such a good line. I love the idea of so mild, so inescapable. It's just so funny.
Oh, just so good. Also, really, how did they not smell her before that? I don't think that's how smell works.
No.
But anyway.
It must have just been Jasper was so focused that he was able to block them from noticing or something.
Yeah.
Or if the wind was going in the opposite direction and blowing her scent like downwind, they wouldn't have known. Or they might, like, there might have been something on the wind, but, like, it would have been pretty subtle. But then if it shifted and they just got, like, a full waft of it.
Waft.
Blah.
It's that whole part is just so weird to me. I think it's still part of my issue with, like, why would a predator just, like, constantly be murdering stuff all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that even though she's surrounded by, like, 8 vampires, the one of this 3 group who have been, like, worried about approaching these people is suddenly like, I will take on all of these.
Yeah.
To kill this human instantly. And it's like, what are you doing?
James was definitely a serial killer before he got turned.
Yeah.
like,
oh my god.
100% a serial killer. Let's be real.
His tracking abilities are like a vampire superpower.
Yeah.
They're supernatural. So, A, that had to come from somewhere. B, that is clearly coloring his behavior.
Yeah.
And then also, Edward talks about trackers as if this is like a known subset of vampires.
Yeah.
So, like, is this like more common than other things?
I mean, I guess it would make sense, right? Like, for you have to hunt humans, which are, pretty smart most of the time.
I mean, but if you're just trying to find a human, not one specific human, but if you just need a human, we're not hard to find.
No.
Yeah.
We're kind of all over the place.
I wonder if it's like, if they were like evolutionarily created, it would be like a throwback, like to a more primitive vampire that is like more hunting instinct than anything else.
Yeah.
And that's why there would be more of them. Right? It's just like sometimes when they get changed, they turn like more feral.
Or maybe it's like, if you're trying to eat a person without being noticed, and obviously stealth is very important for vampires, it's probably easier to maintain that stealth when you're hunting people who are like already in the woods or like away from civilization. So maybe there's a disproportionate number of people who are hunted by it and therefore turned into vampires who are like hunters or hikers and who already have that like outdoorsy following a path, following an animal, trying to get to that specific goal.
Oh yeah, I like that theory.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'll just say all this is making me think of is 2 characters in other fantasy stories. And all I can think of is, what if Mal from Shadow and Bone got turned into a vampire?
No.
Or Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Aragorn is arguably the better character of those 2.
Yeah.
Arguably. Inarguably.
Objectively so.
Yeah.
Listen.
I don't know who the people are who like Mal so much, but
I
don't understand them.
But the word tracker has been forever ruined for me.
Yeah. I mean, Mal can just track a beetle in a bag in a chimney and shoot it with an arrow, and that's like a totally normal thing to do that nobody questions.
Yeah, it's not magic.
It's not magic.
Not magic.
Why would you think that?
Different book that we also don't like.
Yeah, the Shadow and Bone TV show is out now on Netflix when this episode goes up, so go watch that.
God.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Oh my god.
I need you guys to watch it for me and tell me if it's good.
I will binge the entire thing.
Great.
I will watch it over the course of a couple of days, probably.
Yeah.
I will binge it for Ben Barnes and Ben Barnes alone.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the car scene now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's just right back to Edward,
worst.
like, literally not paying attention to anything Bella says.
Nothing.
Like, oh my god, she's, like, freaking out. Yeah. He doesn't tell her what or why. Like, he doesn't take a single second to explain why he's suddenly driving her away from Forks. In Midnight Sun, it's like Stephanie Meyer has tried to, like, couch it by being like, oh, he's so busy trying to keep up with Alice's visions while he's driving that he, like, can't talk to Bella, which I'm pretty sure is exactly the one she used the previous time too.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just sucks. Like, in his head, he has thoughts like, oh, I needed to tell her whatever. Like, she didn't understand. And it's like, yeah, because you're not even trying to explain anything.
Nothing.
At all.
Yeah, he goes on for, like, a full paragraph about how none of them understand and none of them have the full context of what's happening. And it's like, it's because you haven't said it.
Yeah.
You're the only one who knows because you were in his head.
Yeah.
And you just refuse to say anything to anybody. You're just dragging them all along. Like, he doesn't listen to Bella. He doesn't listen to Emmett. He doesn't listen to Alice, even though you should never bet against Alice.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand that you're scared, but, like, you need to slow down for a second and think and use the resources that are available to you.
Yeah, like, I would almost be able to forgive not listening to Emmett and Alice, but when you just, like, completely take the autonomy out of the person's hands who you're trying to protect, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to make the best decision for them without telling them any of the reasons why. All of that is just so terrible. So awful.
Don't like it.
He literally thought it was impossible for Bella to have a good idea about her own safety.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's so just disgusting. It's like, you literally are in love with this girl, but you don't think she can make any decision for herself.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And he says, like, oh, it's because she doesn't have the context. And it's like, well, then give her the context. Like, you've been keeping so many things from her because you're like, oh, well, then she just won't understand. And it's like, well, then tell her. I mean, I guess in context, it has been like 2 days.
Cheapers.
Wow.
So, it's been like 3 days or whatever.
Wow. That is, oh my god. This makes it like
move it real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, I thought my relationship was moving fast, but
nope. Has it moved to 3 days and he kidnapped you to Phoenix?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
You missed
There's still
the
time.
window.
It took us 5 days for the first Zoom date, I think. So
yeah. See, that's how you keep Edward under control.
Yeah.
Zoom dates.
Yeah. Zoom dates.
That's how Bella and Edward should have met. Yeah.
But then he wouldn't have to smell her. It would have been perfect.
It's perfect.
Wow.
Meant for the pandemic.
Twilight in 2020.
But then it comes back to the question, would Edward fall in love with Bella if she didn't smell so good to him? I don't know.
He wouldn't have noticed her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have something I would like to say about this car scene.
Okay.
Which is that Edward says that he used some archaic curses. And I was like,
Oh no.
What could that mean? So I tried to do some Googling to find out what sorts of swears would be around in 1918 when Edward was a teenager, becoming a vampire.
Yes.
And I did find some. I found some interesting ones.
I'm so excited.
There were a couple that I found from a listicle about swears that originated during World War I, which would have been during the same time. Notably, cooties came from World War I. So, yep.
Just Edward muttering cooties.
Cooties.
Just muttering cooties under his
just
breath.
cooties.
Yeah, cooties.
Cooties. And also, one of my personal favorites, dingbat, is a World War I swear.
That's a swear.
That's a swear.
That sure is a swear.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I found a couple other words. from a list of early 20th century swears that Edward might have used to refer to James. He could have been a gongoozler, a fustalugs, or a dotty's man.
Okay, wait. What was that middle one again?
A fustalugs is a person who is ugly or just looks like they'd be mean.
Oh my god, bring that one back into circulation.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, bloody was like a really big one and was like super offensive, so Edward could have been muttering under his breath about this bloody fustalugs trying to steal his girl.
Oh my god.
This makes this so much better.
Unfortunately, like, I did come across these other ones. The most common swears in English are all really old, so shit and damn are both like Latin-based.
Damn it.
Yep. Fuck originated around 1475, apparently. Yeah. And I would just like to read you a quote from the Wikipedia article for the word fuck, which exists.
Please. I want it.
About the earliest occurrence of the word fuck in the English language. In the English language record, rather. Which says, in English court records of 1310 to 1311, a man local to Chester is referred to as Roger Fuck by the Navel, probably a nickname. Either this refers to an inexperienced copulator, referring to someone trying to have sex with the navel, or it is a rather extravagant explanation for a dimwit, someone so stupid they think that this is the way to have sex.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I wish my face was visible right now.
So, Edward could be driving down the street muttering about gongoozlers and dotty's men, or he could just be driving down the street going, fuck shit, goddamn fucking fuck.
But could he be going around saying both?
I just love the idea of him. I just love the idea of him just being like, yes, I was saying some archaic swears. And then he just opens the window and is like, fuck.
Just breaking out some of the olden swears. Shit.
Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Oh my gosh. God. I wish I knew which archaic curses he was using.
Yeah, this is why writers invented just saying, I cursed under my breath or something instead of actually writing the curse, because it makes it sound a lot cooler than it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Oh man, that's great. Oh, that was the best thing all day.
You know what else is fun?
Yeah, tell me.
I bleep swears in this podcast.
Yep. Are you gonna bleep fustalugs?
Maybe. We'll see.
Literally that whole section is just gonna be and bleep and bleep, 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 bleep.
I'm just giving myself a lot of work.
You're gonna have a great time.
Can you take my bleep and use that?
Just use that everywhere else.
Just from now on, anytime someone says bleep, that's what we put there.
Oh, that was great. Thank you for that. I loved that.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
Glad to contribute to this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
I don't have math, but I do have cooties.
I mean, your cooties was way funnier than my math. That's for sure.
Math is no joking matter.
I do just want one note that I wrote down that I wish I had said when I had been talking about it originally is the notes I wrote about Jasper's cool power where he makes everyone bored to look at him. Mm-hmm. Edward is as bored by Jasper as Stephanie Meyer is.
Rude.
Because this is the first time he's done anything.
I'm personally offended by this attack on my favorite background character other than Alice.
Like, I think he's cool now. Well,
he's so cool.
Well,
I mean, after the racist part, if you just look at when he's a vampire, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In terms of his powers, I think he's pretty cool now.
Yeah.
There's that Rocky part where he was just riding the horny high off of Edward and Bella that I did not enjoy.
That still makes me uncomfy.
Me too. But this is better.
Just getting high off someone else's...
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I mean, that's basically what porn is, right?
Oh.
I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
My book just fell over as soon as I said that. I think it's angry.
I literally just felt my soul leaving my body. I was just like,
no.
Yeah.
A ghost.
Ghost.
All right. Should we end this podcast?
Yeah.
All right. Let's guess what's going to happen in the next chapter. They're both called Goodbyes. And I, for one, am hoping that the rest of the book is just all 1-to-1 chapters. Like these ones have been.
That would be
one
lovely.
Twilight to one Midnight Sun. It's amazing. I love it.
Makes things a lot better for us.
Yeah, that was all a cover for I have no idea what's going to be next. So what do you guys think is going to happen?
Is this the part where Bella is like really mean to Charlie so that he will let her go?
Yeah. Like really mean. I remember this part hurt me because it was like, how can you be so mean to your dad?
Oh no.
Yeah. Real harsh.
I don't like Charlie, but
I have a little bit of a soft spot for Charlie because Charlie's just like an awkward dad who doesn't know what to do, which like kind of resonates with me because my dad's kind of the same. And so like when she's like super mean to him, I'm just like, how could you do that?
It's also that like classic I love you, so I'm going to say something incredibly hurtful to protect you trope.
Which I hate.
I kind of like it because I like it when media makes me hurt.
I mean fair.
It's like, I also love a good miscommunication trope, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who does.
I hate that trope more than anything in the universe. A good miscommunication trope could make me put the book down.
Same. It's one of like those things that I'm just like, just freaking talk. Just tell each other the truth. Just like be honest with each other. Good communication.
Yeah, if they just talk to each other, they could solve the problem, but no.
Then there wouldn't be.
They have to be all angsty and shitty about it, and then it's fun to read for some reason.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate even the thought of it.
I'm pretty sure I ranked that as a 1 or 2 out of 10 on the swoon scale.
Yeah, I feel like I saw that and got offended.
Hannah's swoon scale and Sam's swoon scale are inverses of each other.
The reverse of each other.
Yeah.
Yikes.
My bad.
There's a scene in the book or the movie where Bella's like in a ballet studio, right?
Yeah.
That won't be for a couple chapters, though.
Okay.
That's at least 2 or 3 chapters away, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I didn't just fabricate that out of nothing.
No, that exactly.
That's the thing.
Amazing.
Good job, Sophie.
I'll just bring that out for the next 4 chapters. Is this the chapter where she's in a ballet studio?
Eventually it'll be right.
Eventually I'll be right.
Yeah. I think the next chapter is literally just like the Charlie scene, and then I don't really know what else. Like, I don't think it goes too much into like James coming into it yet.
That was my guess as well.
Yeah,
we're probably going to be seeing 2 different Twilight Midnight Sun content again, right? Because Edward isn't going to stay
he's just gonna
with
be stalking
Bella.
her, isn't he?
Isn't Edward trying to stay away for a little bit?
I don't think that actually happens, though. From what I remember, something happens, and that their plan changes. But again, I could be remembering wrong. But for some reason, I don't think they actually get separated. But I could be very wrong.
Okay.
I don't.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Not us.
I do know at some point later, Bella gives Jasper the slip by pretending to go to the bathroom, and he doesn't know how long humans take to go to the bathroom, so she gets away.
God. I don't remember that at all.
Why because she's probably being like, I need to get away from all the vampires for some reason?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think like they were gonna like keep her locked down in a hotel, and she was like, I have to go face him myself, or something.
Oh.
That sounds about right.
It does sound about right.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah,
that probably is what happens next. Let's talk about what we're reading this 2 weeks. Yeah, I started and finished The Gods of Jade and Shadow.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, it was so good. Yeah, it was like exactly my sleep. It was like fairy tale and mythology. Extremely good. Would recommend. And then, yeah, I'm also very slowly going through another Robin McKinley book, which is also a fairy tale.
Nice.
I'm predictable. What about you guys?
I mean, I think I'm more predictable. Can you guess what I'm still reading?
I almost wish I couldn't.
I know, right? Well, to nobody's surprise, I am still reading The Way of Kings. But I also, in the interim, because my brain can't handle high fantasy after work, and it can only handle YA, also read A Vow So Bold and Deadly, finally. So,
nice.
Hey, yeah.
Is that a book 2?
It's a book 3. So it's the ending of the trilogy of A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And so A Vow So Bold and Deadly was the trilogy ending the series, though it kind of left off as if she might write more books if this one did well. So,
Ooh. I liked A Heart. So wait, no, that's the second one.
A Curse So Dark and Lonely is the first one, yeah.
It's so hard. Which is which?
Yeah, yeah.
I liked A Curse So Dark and Lonely.
Yeah, I liked the second one the best.
Okay.
But I don't know, overall, like, it's a decent YA trilogy, so.
It's got the Beauty and the Beast. Why wouldn't I like it?
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Hannah?
Well, unlike Sam, I've finished my big fantasy book.
Oh, I'm proud of you!
Mine was only half the length of yours, so it's not that much of an accomplishment.
It's still an accomplishment! Do not discredit yourself!
I did it. It took me 2.5 months.
Yay!
Yay! And then I decided that having finished one very dense book, I was going to move straight into a dense nonfiction book. So I have been reading Humankind, How Biology and Geography Shape Human Diversity by Alexander H. Harcourt. And it is...
Nice.
Yeah. It's a little more difficult than I was expecting as someone who doesn't have a background in anthropology. But I think we're finally getting into the part where he starts talking about, as he puts it, why we are what we are, where we are. So, like, why different traits evolved in different parts of the world. So that's really interesting. Mm-hmm.
Neat.
It's a good spread of books, guys.
Yeah, covering a whole range of things.
Yeah.
Like fantasy.
Yeah.
And one nonfiction.
Fantasy for adults and for teens.
Yeah.
The two genres.
The two genres. Adult fantasy and teen fantasy.
I sometimes read romance. And I sometimes read mystery. Sometimes.
But they have to be fantasy, mystery, and romance.
No. I read a really good book, actually, by an Indigenous author. I can't remember his name, which is really bad. But it's called Winter Counts. And it was about the Lakota tribe. And it was
you were telling me about this.
Yeah, it's a super intense book. Like, if you're going to read it, check your trigger warnings. Like, it's a lot, but it's really, really good. I really recommend it.
I can't read mystery.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. And it's very intense.
I'm a big baby.
It was a good book.
Okay. If you liked this chapter of Midlight Crisis, consider rating and reviewing us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us and find fun-related content on social media. We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
And the more we read Midnight Sun, the more we realize there is nothing less interesting in the world than this nondescript vampire.
Truth.
Guys, I hate Edward.
Sleep! That guy.
Sleep,
that
seriously.
guy, for real.
Hey, what do you think would happen if you put a jellyfish in a Formula 1 car?
That sounds like the start to a joke. What's the punchline?
I think you just get jelly.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, I'm not funny.